If you're like most men, you probably believe that testosterone declines after 30, a phenomenon often termed andropause or male menopause. But after reading dozens of studies on this topic, I'm here to tell you that this belief is not only an oversimplification of the scientific literature, but it also creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in this video, I'm going to explain why holding this belief makes it true. Then I'm going to rid you of this belief by showing you scientific evidence that testosterone decline with age is in fact not inevitable. And then I'm going to show you how you can maintain optimal testosterone levels throughout your entire life. Let's go. So first, the belief that testosterone declines with age is dangerous because it causes you to adopt an external locus of control. In life, there are things outside of your control, like the actions of others, the economy, genetics, and your age. And there are things within your control, like your ability to exercise, eat clean, get enough sleep, and manage your stress. When you have an external locus of control, you allow things that are outside of your control to dictate your situation. You think that things happen to you. For example, you think that your genetics or your age are responsible for your fitness level, or you blame the economy for how much money you're able to earn. Whereas having an internal locus of control is much more empowering because you make things happen in your life. You cause the effects. For example, you take actions like exercising, eating clean, managing your stress, and getting enough sleep. And this enables you to live a healthy lifestyle. When it comes to testosterone optimization, the things that are in your control are much more significant and much more important than the things not in your control, right? So it's not just that the things that are not in your control are out of your control. So there's no point in worrying about them because you can't do anything about them anyway. But also, they have a minor effect. So you're much better off focusing on the things in your control because you can actually do something about it, but they're also far more consequential. In the world, there's this law called Pareto's principle, which is that about 80% of effects are caused by 20% of causes. And when it comes to your testosterone levels, the things that are inside your control, like the ones I've rattled off, exercise, nutrition, your circadian rhythm, everything in this list here, have 80% of the effect. Honestly, I would say more, probably closer to 90%. And things like age have less than 10% of the cumulative effect on your testosterone, roughly speaking. Now, having an internal locus of control, so blaming things like your age for your testosterone levels or really any outcome in life, creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Let's say we have a guy named John, and he has the belief that testosterone declines with age. Let's say that throughout John's life, he's accumulated a bunch of bad habits. So he doesn't exercise, his diet's poor quality, he's sleep deprived, and he drinks alcohol. And this causes him to have poor health. And as I'll soon explain in more detail, having poor health is the number one cause of having low testosterone. But we'll start with this. John has poor health. This causes him to have low testosterone. But under the belief that testosterone declines with age, John blames his age. He just thinks, oh, I'm getting older, so my testosterone levels are going to decline. This causes him to not fix the poor health habits that caused his low testosterone in the first place. And as time goes on, this feedback loop repeats itself over and over. Because when John doesn't address his poor health habits, his testosterone levels continue to go down over time as the years go by. And this leads to confirmation bias because John thinks, oh, I'm getting older sucks, my testosterone levels keep going down. He keeps blaming his age, and that keeps causing him to not fix his health, and his testosterone levels continue going down, and this cycle continues over and over and over again. And if John doesn't make some major changes, this feedback loop will continue to repeat itself until the day he dies, which for him could come sooner because low testosterone is associated with an increased risk of all-cause mortality, meaning any cause of death. So the first step to helping men like John, in my experience, is to start by changing the limiting beliefs. In this case, the belief that testosterone declines with age limits John because it causes him not to take any action to improve his health. And that leads to his testosterone levels declining in reality. And this further reinforces the belief that testosterone declines with age. This is really how all outcomes in our life happens. Your beliefs drive your actions. but your actions are what create your reality, and what you experience in reality reaffirms the beliefs that you hold in your mind. So the first thing we need to do is intervene by removing the limiting beliefs. A great client case study of mine that exemplifies this point is one of my clients, Chris. He used to believe that obesity is genetic because everyone else in his family was obese. So we figured that that's why he was obese. So before coaching him on any of the physical actions he needed to take to lose weight, we had to start by overriding the belief that obesity is genetic. So I walked him through plenty of scientific research showing this, and also other case studies of people who were obese that lost weight to prove to him that it's not genetic. And once we got rid of that limiting belief in his mind, he was able to lose over 50 pounds in less than 10 months. And this increased his testosterone levels because if you didn't know, having surplus body fat leads to lower testosterone because of higher estrogen. There's this enzyme called aromatase that converts your testosterone into estrogen. That's just a little side tangent. But the main point of this slide is that by removing the limiting belief that his obesity was genetic, this gave Chris the power to control his own actions, leading to positive outcomes in his life. So now that I've explained why holding the belief that testosterone declines with age is what makes it true, now, like I did with Chris, I'm going to help rid you of this limiting belief to put the power back in your hands. So let's get to the bottom of this question. Does testosterone really decline with age? Now, I've talked about this ad nauseum in other videos, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail in this video. The main point of this video is to really show how the limiting belief is dangerous, but I'll go over some research to help you believe that your testosterone levels can be maintained as you age. So the main takeaway after reading and obsessively going over dozens of studies, like I said before, is that although research shows that testosterone levels are lower in older men, most of the declines in testosterone that come with age are actually caused by chronic diseases, but not necessarily aging itself. This is one of the best studies that separated the effects of aging and chronic diseases on testosterone levels. So they made sure to account for chronic diseases to see if it was the diseases or actually aging causing testosterone decline over time. And they found that comorbidities, which is essentially another word for chronic diseases, and lifestyle influences are about as strongly as associated with declining testosterone levels as aging itself. And that age-related hormone decline can be decelerated by managing these lifestyle factors. Now, a key point to note is that this research was conducted on men in the general population. So they weren't exceptionally healthy to begin with. But even still, it shows that the comorbidities were a strong factor in declining testosterone levels with age. There is other research that specifically looks at exceptionally healthy men, and they show that men who maintain pristine health across their lifespan don't experience significant declines in testosterone as they age. So the key point here is that these men self-reported excellent health, meaning they had no chronic diseases. And in this study, they found that these men had no decrease in testosterone with age, and that the conclusion they came to is age-related declines in testosterone in older men are due to accumulating age-related comorbidities rather than low testosterone itself or aging itself. There's a lot of interesting research out there about hunter-gatherer tribes, and they find that men in hunter-gatherer societies don't experience testosterone declines with age like men in the West do. This study looked at about 4 different hunter-gatherer societies and found that the most important general observation is that testosterone decline is not a uniform characteristic across all populations. So the translation to that is just these guys don't experience testosterone decline with age like we do in our Western population. And the main consensus, the main theory behind why this is because these guys are just incredibly healthy. They have some of the lowest rates of all chronic diseases and incredible blood markers for longevity. So the healthier you are, the less your testosterone levels will decline as you age. Science aside, we all know guys who just seem to keep going year after year and they stay in great shape. So this is anecdotal, experiential evidence of men in the real world who maintain clearly optimal testosterone levels as they age. Here we have David Goggins, who had lower testosterone at age 24 than age 50. Now, I don't have his labs, but you can just tell by looking at him. So too with Jocko Willink. If you've never heard of Jocko Willink, he's this retired Navy SEAL. He's 54 years old, but he's writing books. He's doing jujitsu. He's staying in great shape. He is clearly a high testosterone male. And then Andrew Huberman on the far right, he's 50. He has a fantastic scientific podcast, super hard worker, and clearly in excellent shape. Now, in one of my past videos, someone pointed out that Andrew Huberman is on TRT, but he was in shape like this his entire life before and right up until leading to when he was going on TRT. And in fact, to my understanding, he's only taking TRT as part of an experiment for a book he's writing. So the point is that Andrew Huberman has been this way his entire life, and it is not a result of him experimenting with TRT. These guys show that you can maintain optimal testosterone levels well into your middle and later ages. In fact, there's also research showing that if you are unhealthy and your testosterone levels decline with age as a result, these declines are actually reversible. This study showed that declines in testosterone were reversible with weight loss. So by losing body fat, testosterone levels went back up even as men got older. They say that testosterone decline is not inevitable, but potentially preventable and reversible with weight management. And this maps on to my experience that I've had with one of my clients. Here we have Scott, and at age 48, he came to me dealing with low testosterone symptoms, and the main thing that I targeted with him was his body composition, so losing body fat and improving his muscle mass. His body composition is a key driver of testosterone levels, and based on that study, I knew that if we could get his fat down, this would improve his testosterone levels. And after improving his body composition ratios, Scott's testosterone levels went back to the high range of normal, and he's reported feeling better than ever. His strength in the gym is up, and he's just much happier overall. So this shows that testosterone declines with age are reversible and that you can do it too. Now, my story with low testosterone is relevant here as well. So between the ages of about 18 and 21, my first few years of college, I actually struggled with low testosterone, even though I was at the age when you would expect your testosterone levels to be at the highest. In fact, the research shows that testosterone levels peak right at this age point when I was dealing with low testosterone. And the reason why is because I had a bunch of unhealthy habits. I would drink alcohol, smoke weed, you know, porn has been shown to have negative effects on your brain, your hormone interactions with your psychology. I didn't sleep well. The dining hall had a terrible quality food, and I was under chronic stress. I was a double major, balancing that with full-time football player as a D3 football player. So the main point is my health was out of whack, and as a result, I had low testosterone, and it was pretty horrific. I had several embarrassing experiences with erectile dysfunction. And, you know, in college, when you're a young man, your sexual prowess is important to you. So that took a big hit on my ego. I actually had really high blood pressure. It was around 150, 160 over 80. My doctor was going to put me on blood pressure medications. My body composition wasn't great. I still had some muscle, but my body fat was a lot higher than it should be. I was just anxious all the time. So what I did after months and months of research of figuring out, it really was erectile dysfunction was the main thing I wanted to fix. And I realized that low testosterone was the cause. So this is what led to my obsession with testosterone. I did all the research in the world about what I could do to improve my levels. And I just realized that if I improve all aspects of my health and lifestyle, mentally and physically, my testosterone levels would go up, because testosterone is really just a reflection. It's a barometer of your overall health. And after doing that for a few years, by the age of 23, my testosterone levels were higher than they were ever been. And my body composition skyrocketed in conjunction with that. So the main morals of my story for you is it shows that your health is the core determinant of your testosterone levels at any age. So even if you're young, you can have low testosterone if you're unhealthy. But if you're older, you can have optimal testosterone if you dial in your health. And the second moral of my story is that your health is in your control. My poor health habits were a direct result of my actions. But by changing my actions, I was able to improve my health and therefore my testosterone levels as well. So I want you to adopt this new belief. Now that I've shown you all of this evidence between the scientific studies, the case studies of older men, and my clients, and my own story, you should now have cemented in your mind the belief that your testosterone levels are within your control, no matter how old you happen to be. So, with this belief, you are now empowered to take actions to improve your health that will lead to optimal testosterone levels in reality. And over time, that's going to reinforce the belief that your testosterone levels are in your control. So you're converting a negative self-fulfilling prophecy into a positive one. So let's retell the tale of John, our buddy from earlier, who used to have the belief that testosterone declines with age, but now he believes that his testosterone levels are in his control because he watched this video. Let's say John, he still has all these poor health habits that he's accumulated over his life and he's unhealthy. Let's say he's 45 and he has low testosterone. Well, now operating under this new belief, John, instead of blaming age for his low testosterone, he takes action to improve his health over time. And this leads to his testosterone levels improving. This is what we call shifting your locus of control. And it doesn't come naturally. Remember earlier in the video, we talked about the external versus internal locus of control, blaming things that you can't control and why that's a problem? Well, for most people, this is our default state of being. So you actually have to train your mind and condition your brain to focus on what's in your control. And the best way to do that, in my experience, is through Stoic philosophy. One of the core themes of this philosophy is to control what you can control. And here we got a quote from Epictetus: make the best use of what is in your power. Focus on what's in your power, and this will empower you. And then Marcus Aurelius here has a fantastic quote where he says, if it's humanly possible, you can do it too. So by adopting the belief that you can achieve anything you set your mind to, if you see other men, like the examples that I just showed you in the past slides, that are able to maintain optimal testosterone with age and live healthy, vibrant lifestyles, then you can do it too, if you believe that you can. And to believe that you can, you have to start by focusing on what's in your control. So if you start reading Stoicism, it's going to help ingrain this mindset into your brain. Now that I've explained why holding the belief makes it come true, and now that I've changed your beliefs and shift your locus of control from external to internal, I'm now going to give you the actionable strategies that you can use to maintain optimal testosterone levels at any age. When it comes to optimizing your testosterone, it really just boils down to your overall health, like all of this research we unpack shows. And I've broken that down into two categories: physical health and mental health. When it comes to your physical health, four main pillars are training. So you got to exercise. Both lifting weights and doing cardio is important. Your nutrition needs to be dialed in. So this is not only avoiding unhealthy foods, but also eating nutrient-rich foods that are going to give your body all of the vitamins and minerals it needs to produce testosterone optimally. You need to make sure you're not getting not only enough sleep in terms of quantity, but also enough quality sleep. And that involves making sure your circadian rhythm is in check. And then you also want to avoid anything that disrupts your body's ability to produce testosterone. So this is a general blanket term called hormone disruptors. Things like alcohol and weed fit in this category. A lot of pharmaceutical drugs fit in this category, as well as other chemicals in our environment like plastics and pesticide that's on non-organic foods. You need to make sure that you systematically eliminate all of these chemicals from your life. When it comes to your mental health, you need to start by shifting your locus of control to internal. That's the first step, because if you don't have any control over your actions, then none of these physical steps matter if you don't believe that you're able to control your testosterone levels. And what we just did in this video. You also need to manage your stress, because if you're constantly stressed out, the stress hormone cortisol is going to inhibit your body's ability to produce testosterone. And that's where stoicism comes in. When you're focused on what's in you're not worried about the things that happen to you in life, and that reduces stress. So stoicism and also meditation are the two key stress management techniques that I teach. And lastly, this one often goes under the rug. A lot of people don't talk about the importance of having a purpose in life. If you hate your job, or you're just droning along day by day, doing your work because it pays the bills, you're not going to apply yourself fully. And there's actually research that shows that men who increase their status in life have higher testosterone levels psychologically. I'm not going to go too far into a tangent on this, but having a purpose in life to increase your self-perceived status is really, really important. So now that I've explained why the belief makes it true, now that we've changed your locus of control, and I've explained what you can actually do in your life to maintain optimal testosterone levels, I want to tell you that if you need help with doing this, if you need someone to keep you accountable, or you don't know all of the details behind the specifics, steps you need to take to improve your testosterone, then I highly recommend that you check out the Testosterone Transformation Academy link in the top link of the description of this video. This is a men's health coaching program that I've put together based on all my years of experience as a personal trainer, based on all the research I've done on testosterone in my biology undergrad. And in this program, we walk you through all of those steps I just outlined and help you implement them into your life so that you can optimize your testosterone levels naturally at any age. And as you see with some of the other students in this video that I've described in their stories, it leads to fantastic results. And this is the exact process that I followed when I was dealing with erectile dysfunction and low testosterone in college. So it's worked for me, it's worked for others, and it certainly can work for you. And I highly encourage you to do so, because ask yourself, how do you want to spend your final years? Do you want to have plenty of energy, have the ability to do the things you love, like this guy looks like he loves surfing? Do you want to be a strong father, a grandfather, the patriarch of your family? Or do you want to end up in a nursing home at 65, essentially just rotting away for your last few years? Your testosterone levels as you age are crucial for your longevity. So starting now, no matter how old you are, is imperative. And beyond yourself, as men, what world are we creating? If we have a world full of men who just blame their age and things outside of their control, and this causes them to have low testosterone, well, then we're going to end up with a world with a bunch of guys with low testosterone that don't think they can do anything about it. And if you look at the census data on the healthcare expenses in the United States, we spend over 20% of our GDP as a country, something like that, on healthcare expenses alone. And since testosterone is a barometer, it's an indicator of your overall health, if we can create a society where men optimize their testosterone levels by optimizing their health, we can significantly reduce our healthcare expenses and free up a lot of money for much more important things. But we got to get rid of these beliefs that hold us back. And they also hold back men's societal contribution. A big problem with our population aging is now we have what's called an upside down pyramid, where the older portion of our population is living longer. So we're living longer, our lifespans are extending, but our health spans, the number of years that we live in optimal health, are actually decreasing. So now we have this situation where we have a top-heavy society where the older folks, since they're generally unhealthy, aren't able to continue contributing to society after they retire. And this creates a huge burden because we have way less young people in the workforce that now have to support these older people. So if you don't want to be a drain on society, if you don't want to be dead weight as you get older, and have the ability to continue to contribute, even if it's not through your work, but by not being a medical expense for the rest of society to have to pay for, then start now by improving your testosterone levels. And also for your quality of life. If you don't take action now, like we talked about in this slide, the years tick by fast. So if you want to live the last years of your life well, you need to start now. And it starts with eliminating the belief that your testosterone levels decline with age. And I hope that we've achieved that for you in this video. I'll see you in the next one.